Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Purpose in Action, Your Roadmap from E to P, with MAPS coach, Bridget Stewart. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and you'll automatically receive the webinar recording after today's call. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them in the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That is FASTTRACK@kw.com. That's all for me. Bridget, take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Bridget Ann Stewart, and I am one of the MAPS coaches, typically working with agents on production. And I'm very excited to share with you today this new group coaching plan. I've really found that your business plan alone is just not enough to get you where you want to go ultimately and to really have a huge breakthrough in business. And I felt like this plan, this class will help you all achieve that. So the objective today, I just want to explain purpose in action and how I believe that will work with you in conjunction with your business plan, with everything you may have learned in Bold. If you've gone through Bold, many of you may have just completed Ignite. Wherever you are in your training or your career, you're going to be able to jump into this class and customize it to yourself to move forward. So I want to go over how that is actually going to work. I want to share with you the objectives of the class and how each person that participates in this class will finish at the end. They will have a written Big Why, a written GPS, a 411. You're going to have a time blocked schedule that actually fits in with the reality of your life, that also is one that you want to follow and that is actually connected to meeting your goals. As coaches, we sometimes find that schedules and goals are not exactly in alignment. And we're really going to spend a lot of time on mindset and accountability. So we're going to go through that on this call, and you're going to finish the call today knowing what our plan of attack is. And then I really just want to enroll each of you in what is possible for you. I'm a big believer that our real estate license is a winning lottery ticket. And we decide each day if we are going to cash in that ticket or if we're just going to leave it in our wallet and stay anonymous. And I want each of you, regardless of your market conditions, average sales price, I don't care what you think might differentiate you or make things not work for you, that by the end of this call and the end of this course, you will know that you have possibilities much bigger than anything you may have previously imagined. Some of you I know have really big vision. So you may have envisioned a huge successful future, and yet you're struggling on finding that roadmap to get there. And this would also help you in that area. So let's jump in here. I assume that you all want to have some idea of who you're talking to. As I mentioned, my name is Bridget. I have been full-time in real estate since November 1998. I hired my first real estate coach in February 1999, and I've never been without one since that time. As a full-time coach, I still have a full-time coach. So it's something that I'm very passionate about, and having that length of time either being coached or coaching, I believe that has increased my versatility in terms of working with any agent wherever they may be. And I mean that literally, like geographically, and or in their business maturity and development. I did sell on both coasts. I sold in rural Southern Maryland for a long time, which is where I'm from. And I've sold in coastal and Southern California. So that also gave me an experience in rural properties, suburban, and urban sales. So, you know, it makes it relatable, again, as I said, literally even where you are. Usually when a coach says that, they mean it more in a metaphorical sense. Now, I am a market center investor in Santa Barbara, and obviously a MAPS coach. And also, I was a mega agent for quite a long time. MAPS invited me to become a full-time coach in October 2015, and I did make that business decision for myself. But from November 98 until October 2015, I was an agent and mega agent. I reached mega status in year 3. So I do have, and have built teams of various incarnations and sizes. Why do I share all of this? I'm not sharing this to be like, ooh, look at me, la, la, la. I'm sharing this so you just understand as we embark on this course together, when you decide to take Purpose in Action, your roadmap from E to P, I'm coming to you from someone who's been in the trenches and someone who's gone through that. And a lot of coaching and training and education, a lot of school of hard knocks and disappointment. And I believe that that will make this course relatable in a pretty powerful way. I was a team leader for about 4 years and stepped out of that back into production and then became a coach. So if anyone has any questions about that, of course, I'd be happy to answer those. You could just type them in the box and we will move on. So our goals, and I say our goals because at MAPS, it's not like I'm the Lone Ranger and this is just my class and I'm running wild through the streets with Purpose in Action. Corey, who introduced us, has been an integral part of putting this class together. And there have been other coaches and obviously training I've received. Many of the subject matter that's included in this course is from Millionaire Real Estate Agent, The One Thing, 6 Personal Perspectives. I mean, there's so much of the essential parts of being with Keller Williams that are integrated into this course. So that's why I say our goals. But it is actually for you, especially when you sign up for the course that will start on September 6th, let's have an impact on the end of 2019. There is still a solid 11 to 14 weeks, depending on your contract to close and days on market, wherever you are. There's still time to have an impact on this year. So I would love it if we get in action right after Labor Day, we start this course on September 6th, and you actually have a really powerful impact on between now and the end of 2019. Ultimately, I want you to have your best year ever in 2020. Why not? The time's going to go by anyway. You're going to be in real estate anyway. Why not decide today that 2020 is going to be your best year ever and the year that you break through? There's no reason not to. And then of course, I want you to see the value in committing to enrolling in this program. The where to enroll, I just want to cover that right off the bat. On this PowerPoint, you can actually click right on the Purpose in Action hyperlink, and it takes you right to the registration form. It is going to be 7 one-hour webinars. It's going to be Fridays at 1 p.m. Central. All of the sessions will be recorded. There is going to be an exclusive Facebook group. And then something that I'm particularly excited about is there's going to be a bonus video every week in between classes that is going to throw out an immediate challenge that you can decide to accept or not accept. I'll get more into that as we get further into the call. But I'm actually very excited about that element. It will be an optional element to the course, but they're going to be really fun ways to incorporate immediate change into your life, not just your business, but your life. I call them Mission Possible, and we'll get into that more in a minute. That's just like a little added bonus. So again, kind of going back to what I mentioned about the time is now and why not make the time right now. With Purpose in Action, we want to create a simpler way for you to actually keep the promises that you make to yourself. I'm including myself in this group. It is typical that, and this is just people, this isn't real estate agents, but people usually will put more effort and energy in keeping the promises that they make to others before they keep the promises that they make to themselves. And as coaches, when we talk about clients having a big breakthrough, or we look at someone who increases their production by more than 100% in 12 months, and we really try to boil down, wow, why did that person have such incredible results? And believe me, I don't know if you guys have spent a lot of time with coaches, but we can debate and discuss things for an awfully long time. When we really boil it away, usually that person decided enough is enough. I'm going to keep the promises that I made to myself. And they prioritize that in a way that is different than they have done previously. That's going to be an underlying theme in every session, is what are the action steps you're going to commit to? And what action will you take this week that will allow you to set a promise that you can keep, and yet it will still be challenging you? I want to give you a more concrete example of this. As I mentioned, I want each of you to have a complete set of documents at the end of this class. How many of you on this call have gone to training events, or you've gone through BOLD, or you've had an ALC clinic, or whatever, you've read MREA, and you start to work on your MVVBP, but you don't quite finish it? Or you start to work on a GPS for hitting your listing appointments for the year, and you come up with 3 strategies and 1 priority. You come up with 7 in another. You get confused over, well, that seems like it's overlapping, and which category should it go into? And then that piece of paper gets shoved under another pile, and you get consumed with the business of the day, when then all of a sudden 6 months go by, and you're in another clinic, or you're at mega camp or family reunion. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Wasn't I going to do that? This is the time where we're not going to allow that to happen. Every week, I have 2 assistants that are going to be tracking each of you that join the class. Did you turn in what we discussed? And when they review and see that, yes, they received it, they're going to do a preliminary scan on it and then send it to me. Now, I can assure you, if you don't turn it in a very nice way, we are going to remind you. So we're going to send you reminders about turning it in. And then if by the Thursday of that next week we don't have it, I'm going to give you a call. Now, all of this, of course, is in a supportive, engaging way. This is not in a punitive way in any way. We want you to get out of your own way. So if you have some obstacle or stumbling block or question that just needs a few minutes one-on-one to get answered so you can move forward, we're going to make that happen. But we're not just going to have the class with you, set you free, go get it done, and then the next week talk about the next thing and not see that you actually completed the first one. Personally, I think that's a huge value. It's something to finally get it done. Taking that even one step further, you got to remember that you're not Moses coming down the mountain with stone tablets. I want you to have that freedom to be creative, to put down what might be a right now big why. It might be a right now vision, and that's okay. It is okay if it's right now. Just get it down on paper and just get it done. That doesn't mean that you might not, with your own one-on-one coach, enhance it, change it, start from scratch in 18 months. But what we found with agents and not getting the full benefit of these tools, there's some attachment to it's got to be right forever. So we're really going to address that as well. Now, obviously, we want you to break through to the next level of business. And when I think about you breaking through to the next level of business, that is where, regardless of where you are right now, we take a minute and customize it. Are you a fairly new licensee and you're launching your career and you want to be Rookie of the Year? Great. In this course, we will customize that to you. Are you already selling, say, between 40 and 44 houses a year, and you can't seem to break through to that next step? Great. Then we're going to address that. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I've already got a team of 3 people that could, aren't selling at the level I expect, and I've got an EA that's underperforming, I don't know that this class is going to help me. Why don't you go ahead and talk to some coaches? When you address these foundational items that impact your vision, your big why, your passion, and get you ignited about what you're doing every day, you don't think you'll be a better leader? Believe me, you will. So that one, we're going to get you from where you are now to whatever that next step is for you. And then I don't know how many of you were at the mega camp and how many of you saw Gary talk about not settling. I got to tell you, there's a lot of you are doing really well. A lot of MAPS clients are doing very well. You may have a dream of becoming a millionaire real estate agent. And let's say right now you're earning about 250 to 300,000. That's enough where it's good and you have a taste, but you want more. I got to tell you something. One of the toughest places to go is from 750,000 GCI to over $1 million. Because in most of your markets, having a GCI of 750,000 is pretty dang good. So then life becomes good. You become complacent. You have systems running smoothly. Agents always say that's what they want. And all of a sudden, a couple years go by and you're just staying at the same level. Well, what we're talking about right here, diving deep on your big why, your MVVBP, your GPS, your 411, these are the tools that can push you out of settling for good. Don't let good be the enemy of great. This is where we can really address those issues and get you moving forward quickly. And then a personal goal of mine as a coach is to have people meet or exceed their goals. And by the way, this is with setting big goals. I'm not saying, hey, you sold 30, let's sell 33. Oh, look at that, you sold 34 and exceeded your goals. No, let's play big. Time is going to pass regardless. Why not play big? I'm sure, unless you're brand new to Keller Williams, you've probably heard Gary talk about that in some way or another. So this little hamster here, I may be misidentifying him. If I've called him the wrong creature, you can let me know in the comments. Looks like a hamster to me. He's just on the wheel. And I feel like a lot of agents, this is a representation of what their business is like. Working really hard, working crazy hours, being consumed in the immediacy of transactional issues and co-op agents that are annoying and, oh, where's that form? I can't get paid till I get it turned in. All that nonsense that consumes the day. And you've got this big goal that you set at your business planning clinic, and you've got these aspirations of creating a legacy or incredible travel and all the big things you want to do in your life, and yet you find yourself on this wheel. This course, a main goal of this course is get off the hamster wheel. If I could have called the class get off the hamster wheel, that's what we would call it, but that wasn't approved. So and some of you may be in this position. And if you're not in this position and you look around your market center and you look around your market, within your association, I guarantee you in every single market, there are agents that always sell between 24 and 28 homes a year, or 33 and 36 homes a year, or 18 and 24 homes a year. And they do it year after year after year after year. And it's kind of good enough, but not quite great. Not good enough to retire, but good to have great trips and a nice car. Get off of that wheel. You may be working this hard and running this hard and still missing your goal every year. How many of you on this call have missed your goal by like 10%? That's pretty annoying, to put it mildly. So and then some agents, if you look around, they have one great quarter every year. And there's other examples. I just gave you these so you could relate to it. And you might be one of those people where every year you have one great quarter, Maybe it's the second quarter, maybe it's the fourth quarter. You're not even really sure which one it's going to be. Prospecting's inconsistent. You know, it's not predictable. Let's get out of all of that. So that's really what we want to do. So as I mentioned at the top of the call, your business plan alone is not enough. I mean, you have to have one, but your business plan, if you think about it, which by the way, I love, I'm a certified regional Keller Williams trainer. I didn't put that in my little bio, but I covered most of the state of California doing the business planning clinic. I love it. I could do it all day long, every day. That is the numbers. It's the numbers, it's the math, it's potential, it's being strategic, it's factoring in a fallout rate and conversion rates and all those fun, sexy numbers. It is not the heart, and it's not the passion, and it is not enough. If your business plan alone was enough, do you think MREA would start? The book starts by talking about big why, big goals, the myths around mindset and approach to selling at a high level. If it was just the numbers and the business plan was enough, that book would be about a third of its size. But it's not. And I'm assuming everyone on this call would agree. I'm just going to go on a limb. Gary Keller's a genius. A genius would not put the order of a book that important in just a random order. It's clear to me that these are critical issues. And I've noticed post-recession, many agents have had difficulty connecting with their big why. And this really, it's important for me to help people reconnect to that and get that passion back in their business. So what we're really going to talk, and I apologize, I have to add in a little blip here because it's big why, your mission, vision, values, belief, and purpose, your GPS, your 411, your time blocking, and your environment, accountability at a very high level, and what is so ultimately critical is mindset and belief in your possibilities. So I covered most of this, but just to give a brief recap, and then we're going to go into Q&A. We're going to dive deep to get what matters to you as an individual. So I know this is a group class, but believe me, we're going to customize it to you. Accountability from our team each week to ensure that you complete the activities. Support if you're having difficulty completing the activities. We're also going to check your plans for SMART goals, and we're going to make sure that your plans, that there's enough time in the day to actually do it. I received a GPS one time that was beautiful. I did a rough calculation on how many hours per week the client would have to work to achieve all of it, and it was around 221 hours. We're going to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure in that regard as well. And we're going to get you out of your comfort zone with those Mission Possible videos that you can decide to participate in or not. Quick side note on that. For everyone who engages in the Mission Possible videos between the classes and completes all of them, I'm going to have a special party at Family Reunion for everyone who participates in the Mission Possible, and I'll be making a donation to KW Cares on behalf of everyone who completes the Mission Possibles. You'll get more information about that as you register for the class, but I think it's going to be really fun. So quick quote from Gary Keller: a life worth living might be measured in many ways, but one that stands out among the rest, among the others, is living a life of no regrets. Let's not settle. Let's get out of our own way, and let's really make this dream real faster for you and your family or whomever is important to you, and get out there and play big. So Corey, I think we could go ahead and open this up for questions.
All right, so we don't have any questions up right now. So if anybody has any questions, please type them into your questions bar and we will take it from there.
So I'll see if you guys have any. I want this to be the time that you look back on in 5 years and say, you know what, end of 2019, that's when I changed my life. There's no reason why you cannot claim that right now. You don't want the clock to reset on your 5-year goals every year. By the way, I'm including myself in this. If you don't take that stance and decide that now will be different, every year your 5-year goals get set out another 5 years. So this is my invitation to you to stop the clock and mark the calendar and say, my 5-year goals will be coming true in 2024. And have that as a hard stop deadline. There's no reason to have the 5-year span continue to restart every single year.
We do have a couple questions that just came in.
Okay.
The first one is from Suzanne. She says, I've been considering getting a MAPS coach. Would you recommend I take your class first and then get a coach?
So I think, Suzanne, that's a great question. And I was talking to fellow coaches. We did some masterminding at Mega Camp about that. And it's something that would fit in very neatly together. I don't see one as being necessarily like a prerequisite for the other. I was talking in particular to a bold coach, and she said, wow, if they could take that course prior to doing bold, how awesome would that be? Because you would go into the bold room, with your big vision and everything in place, and then it would elevate it even further. But in terms of working with a one-on-one coach, to me, that's like planting a tree. You guys know that question, when's the best day to plant a tree 20 years ago? What's the second best day is today? So if you've been considering that, I would really highly recommend doing both. So you could do both. Your coach would help you with the exercises we're doing. You would start that business partnership relationship with them. You'd really have a 2020 plan that would just be, you would already be operating at the pace needed to hit your goals in 2020 by starting to work with that coach now. So I think I'll put it this way, either option is good. I think hiring the coach now would make it a little bit better, and both would be great.
Awesome. So we have two more questions that have popped up.
Okay.
The first is from Lori. Any tips on getting started on defining your big why?
Yes. And I'm so excited about that first class, because that's when we're going to dig into this. You can actually start, and these are going to sound funny, and they're going to sound funny in isolation from the whole class. But one of the first things to do is sit down and force yourself to write 25 of your favorite things. I know that, by the way, this is an exercise from Gary. So, and Gary actually does this with all new hires. New hires, they have to fill out 25 of their favorite things. When you make yourself do that, and by the way, you asked for tips, do this in a non-distracted environment. Get a legal pad, put Steely Dan on, have a cup of coffee handy, turn your phone off or put it in another room, and just allow yourself to be in that moment. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Give yourself half an hour and write down my favorite things. Write out 25 favorite things. If you were able to do that faster than the half an hour, great. If not, when the timer goes off, stop the activity and step away. That is part of building that time blocking muscle, and then reschedule a time to finish it. You should challenge yourself to finish it in the 30 minutes. And then I would do one additional session where you sit down and you write, this is very similar to the bold value cards, but it's slightly different. Same scenario, legal pad, Dave Brubeck, cup of coffee, no distractions, set a timer for half an hour, and write down the values that are most important to you. And do it in a way where there's no wrong answer. Sometimes, we can get caught into a bind of, we think that there's certain right answers we're supposed to give. Set all of that aside. So if you value laughter, family, and adventure, great. Make that what it is. But you want a long list. I gave you 3 right off the bat. You want to go for about 12 to 16 values, and then you want to prioritize what are the most important ones out of that list. We're going to go a little bit more deeply into that in the course, because we're going to find out, are you a cocooner? Are you an adventurer? We're going to find out what really gets you going, and we're going to incorporate that into your big why. But those two activities, they might sound esoteric, but that will start stimulating your mind on what really on a life level is important for you. Those would be the first two activities I'd recommend.
Awesome. Thanks, Bridget. So we've got Patty here and she's got a couple questions. So she
Mm-hmm.
says, our first Bold starts in October and I've never been. Would taking this group class still make sense? And regarding the favorite things you were just talking about, do they have to be about career?
Thank you for asking that. You could absolutely start this class and start Bold in October. It would be so fantastic because you're already going to do the big why activities in September, your mission, vision, values, beliefs, purpose. You're going to go through all of that and go right into the Bold room. Michael Byerly was the Bold coach that was like, that'd be so awesome, that if you did that prior. In terms of the later sessions in the class, they tie in so neatly with Bold. I mean, I posted on the Bold group, and I recommended the course as like a follow-up to Bold to keep the energy going. I would recommend that you do both because you will get more out of your Bold in October by doing the exercises that we're going to do in September. Now, I am so glad that you mentioned that about the 25 favorite things. They do not have to be about career. And when you're talking about big why, in some ways, I don't want to say it's better than, they're both important. When you're working on your big why, if you really want to figure out why am I getting out of bed every day and going and pushing as hard as I do to create this career that's 100% commission pay and everything that we encounter in real estate, the more that we incorporate items from different areas of your life, the stronger your commitment will be to leap out of bed, ready to take on the world. If you keep it just professional or just career, unfortunately, that's a lot of times when we see people stumble away from their business plan and their production can fall off. If you can make it robust and be about changing the lives of the people close to you and contribution, and maybe you have a spiritual element or an adventure element. Maybe you are a nester and we're going to make that home like such an incredibly inviting environment where you have parties and celebrations, just whatever it is going to be for you. The more that it can include work as well as you as an individual and as well as the people around you, the better results you're going to get from it. I hope that answers your question.
All right. Oh, she says, for the value exercise, is there a list that we can refer to in order to spark our thinking?
I'm not sure if you have taken Bold or not yet. You could ask your team leader or your productivity coach, if there's one in the office, for a set of Bold cards, and those cards have different values on them. When I do this exercise one-on-one with people, I actually prefer if they do it, again, sort of no distraction, and just what comes up to them. It does take longer to do it that way, but it's interesting to do if you just sit down and be in that moment and think about which values you prioritize. But the Bold value cards would be great. I don't know of a list. Corey, why don't you and I compile that prior to the first class, and I'd be
Sure.
happy to share that with everyone.
We can make that happen.
Great.
All right, so that is it for all of the questions that people have submitted.
Okay. So again, I'm really excited about this course. I believe that this, combined with your business planning and the other training, coaching, and leadership that you get from your market center, we genuinely can make 2020 your best year ever. I want to leave you with 3 questions. And many of you are familiar with Marianne Williamson's quote about there's no, why are you playing small? We don't have time to read that whole quote. I just want you to reflect on what is the price that you're paying by playing at the level you are now. And what is the price to your family? And when I say your world, I'm talking about everyone who's around you in your own, microcosm of life. And if you're not playing at your full ability and you're not developing your customer service and your database and your value proposition to its fullest extent and playing big, you're denying opportunity, income, careers, philanthropy. So just really reflect on that. And I want to invite all of you to join me in this course. So thank you for your time today. Thank you, Corey, for being a great support. I look forward to working with all of you.